I'm going to be reading the last chapter, chapter 27 of the Miraculous Journey of Edward Tulane. Seasons passed, fall and winter and spring and summer. Leaves blew in through the open door of Lucius Clark's shop, and rain, and the outrageous green hopeful light of spring. People came and went, grandmothers and doll collectors and little girls with their mothers. Edward Tulane waited. The seasons turned into years. Edward Tulane waited. He repeated the old doll's words over and over until they wore a smooth grove of hope in his brain. Someone will come. Someone will come for you. And the old doll was right. Someone did come. It was springtime. It was raining. There were dogwood blossoms on the floor of Lucius Clark's shop. She was a small girl, maybe 5 years old, and while her mother struggled to close a blue umbrella, the little girl walked around the store, stopping and staring solemnly at each doll, and then moving on. When she came to Edward, she stood in front of him for what seemed like a long time. She looked at him, and he looked back at her. Someone will come, Edward said. Someone will come for me. The little girl smiled, and then she stood on her tiptoes and took Edward off the shelf. She cradled him in her arms. She held him in the same ferocious, tender way Sarah Ruth had held him. Oh, thought Edward, I remember this. Ma'am, said Lucius Clark, could you please attend to your daughter? She is holding a very fragile, very prestigious, quite expensive doll. Maggie, said the woman. She looked up from the still open umbrella. What have you got? A rabbit, said Maggie. A what? Said the mother. A rabbit, said Maggie again. I want him. Remember, we're not buying anything today. We're looking only, said the woman. Madame, said Lucius Clark, please. The woman came and stood over Maggie. She looked down at Edward. The rabbit felt dizzy. He wondered for a minute if his head had cracked open again, if he was dreaming. Look, Mama, said Maggie. Look at him. I see him, said the woman. She dropped the umbrella. She put her hand on the locket that hung around her neck, and Edward saw then that it was not a locket at all. It was a watch, a pocket watch. It was his watch. Edward, said Aileen. Yes, said Edward. Edward, she said again, certain this time. Yes, said Edward. Yes, yes, yes. It's me. I chose this chapter because I thought it was just such a fun, sweet, full circle moment of Edward, through his long journey coming back to being bought by Aileen and her daughter. I think I connected with it because it demonstrates a theme of love and love for multiple people. Because he goes on this journey and he meets all these people and then he ends up loving them and wishing that he could spend more time with them, which I feel like is a very real feeling. And it shows that, it shows in a way of a rabbit character how people can go through loss and growth and loneliness and experience love and all of that through a rabbit. I think the story does a good job of demonstrating what it feels like for being left out and everything. I feel like we could use this passage to help children understand emotion, and even make it an activity for the classroom, and also just really emphasizing emotions are okay to have. You go through this whole story of Edward having all these emotions and really just telling them, emotions are what happened, and just validating Edward's emotions and then kind of snowballing it into your own thing. But this is a really cute story. I hadn't read it yet, so I'm glad I got the chance to.